Hey, good morning.
What the hell's going on there?
What's going on there, Jeff?
Let's make ourselves bigger, or how about even bigger? Look at
Bigger is always better. So,
Size
especially because it's the golden era, and it's episode 24. Can you believe it? 24 of the Whiners, and here it is.
Feels like 22 or 27.
It
but
seems
it's 24.
just like yesterday. It was episode 1, actually. Almost like that. Actually, you remember what you were drinking on episode 1?
No, I don't even remember what I
September?
had for breakfast today.
Oh, well, hold on a second. What are you drinking for your wine? How about that? Can you get that far
Today?
back?
Tonight?
Yeah,
Right now?
right now.
Okay. It's a French blend at, this is going to shock you, my favorite store, Trader Joe's. Not 50% Grenache and 50% Syrah. That would just have been all wrong. It's 52% Grenache and 48% Syrah. I would have liked to have been in on the meeting they had to decide it had to be exactly that ratio.
It's definitely interesting. All right.
It's
How
night
is it?
2. You know, sometimes wine is better on night 2, just as
Yes.
good or
Yes.
not as good.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed it last night. Let me
Take a little
savor
sip.
it for a moment.
By the way, somebody asked if I just woke up because it seems like I'm switching onto Russian time, but that's not going to happen just yet. I work long hours. But remember I said episode 1. Back episode 1, you were drinking McManus with me. And you even
I
wrote
remember you
this-
recommended that, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. So I recommended it. You wrote a article, what are round, creamy tannins, and about that wine. Anyway,
If
that's
there's
what
anybody who knows what's round and creamy, it would be you.
well, I hope that's what
Look
you
at those
meant.
round and creamy buttocks there in the upper right corner.
Oh, yeah, there you go. It's round and creamy. Thank you very much. Anyway, it's a good one. And, you know, today is March 6th, and I think wine is, it's a good night for drinking wine.
Yeah, well, almost any night is. In particular, I like even-numbered nights or odd-numbered nights.
Any day ending in the word day, actually.
Wine can be a real problem solver. You sent me something today about a problem that arose on a flight, I think, from Finland to Toronto, something like that. And they had about twice as many passengers as they had lunches. And they're trying to figure out what to do about that. And here's how they solved the problem.
The airline made a mistake, difficult situation. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how this happened, but we have 400 passengers on board and only 200 lunches. Give up food for someone else will receive a free unlimited what?
Free unlimited wine
Aha.
if they sacrifice their lunch. So what do you think? How was it accepted by the passengers?
Everybody.
Everybody picked the wine. You know, I made a video with the music for this. I think I picked the wrong version of it. Oh, God.
Oh,
I
boy.
don't know what I'm doing.
You haven't had enough wine, I would say. That's for sure.
Yeah, either that or the audio just didn't make it. I wonder which it is. Let's
I
try.
don't know. You're
But
gonna
this-
try to. You're gonna try it again. That text. Right. Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
there it is. Would this have been better?
I mean, it's got that clicking.
Like tick-tock,
That's the
tick-tock.
clock from Dr. Strangelove. I feel like it's about to be nuclear war, not a solution. Okay. Yeah, no.
I meant to try to think of, how are they going to solve the problem? Tick-tock, tick-tock, waiting to find out, and then...
Yeah, baby.
Since I created that so painstakingly, I couldn't waste
You had to
it.
put
Sorry,
us through that again twice. Okay.
Well, actually, I've got 3 more versions I'd like to show you.
Okay. All right.
Now, let's get to the news. I'm just joshing. The big news, of course, is another economic boycott. We were talking about this last week when at first these geniuses who hate Trump and hate Elon Musk were just saying, hey, don't buy anything at all. And then as time went on, they got more specific about it. And I was saying, well, you're not going to know who actually, how many people participated. There's no way of measuring whether it had an impact. It's the dumbest thing in the world. But I was wrong because the dumbest thing in the world is now happening starting tomorrow. Tomorrow it's going to be for a whole week. They're saying don't buy anything on Amazon. And I mentioned it to a few people, and they hadn't even heard about it, but I saw this all over Facebook.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess everybody's been blocking me on Facebook that would care about this. So I haven't seen
Now, I'm
it
just
at
a
all.
wise ass, and, so it strikes me as absurd, but you actually know things about the economy, how things work. So what is your scholarly analysis of this?
Well, first of all, they were saying that that with the Democrats' new fight and resistance and all of that, that Elon Musk, over some 2-week period of time, has lost about $100 million at Tesla. Something like that. I don't remember. But
He's
it's not-
lost it based on...
He's lost that because
How
of the-
is that measured?
in other words, they're measuring it based on like people returning their Tesla, or now they're not buying Teslas, or something stupid like that.
You
They
can't
don't
return
realize
your Tesla just because you're mad at Elon, can you?
who knows. I mean, the thing is, he's making $32 million an hour. It literally makes
Is that what his hourly
Yeah.
wage, so to speak?
it's like $32 million an hour.
Yeah, he
some
can
number.
handle it, but I mean, on the other hand, trying to be, I'm an Elon supporter, but trying to be fair, he owes something to the workers at Tesla. He owes something to the stockholders, right?
That's true.
How does he even have time to do everything that needs to be done there and at all his other companies when he's doing this Doge stuff?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think that it's advisory. People get very confused on Doge. They're like, oh, he is now in the government and he's got all this special power. It's only advisory. So, and it's supposed to be
Yeah,
temporary.
well, there's
isn't
going to
it,
be
Jeff?
some litigation over that because apparently, it's not really clear what the threshold is for when you need Senate confirmation. It depends on certain things. Is it temporary? And Trump, right in it wasn't the State of the Union address, whatever you call it, the joint address to, what is it, the joint address to Congress? Smoke a joint at Congress? I don't know.
Right.
He said in his speech that Elon's in charge of it, so it's kind of hard to argue otherwise in court. But anyway.
But going back to your original question, this is not the same thing as the bus boycott. This is not like Rosa Parks. This is not where
That's
you're
the
just-
gold standard of protest right there.
That's right, but it's different because we're in an era where you don't have the small diners anymore that are family owned. Everything is the mega store. Everything is globally connected. I know we're going to talk more about some of that in a bit.
So in other words, a lot of people are not even in a position to participate in the boycott, even if they wanted to, because if you're saying go to only ma and pa stores and you live in an area where there aren't hardly any ma and pa stores, then what do you do?
Well, no, and
Is that what you mean?
Where are those areas? Yeah,
Yeah.
Take Walmart. Walmart has, throughout its entire history, forced the closure of all the ma and pa stores. So they go into a remote area, and those ma and pa stores are gone, and it's just ghost towns. But the thing is, these Democrats they're acting like cringy children, and this whole idea they're going to fight and resist. So I did find their latest, probably even cringier than what you're showing, is the White House. It's the Democratic women choose your fighter video. Take a look at this. These are Congresswomen.
This is AOC. I don't even know who the first one was.
Representative Lauren Underwood, Catherine Clark. So these are the ones that are going to lead the fight.
They're just begging to be mocked. Look at this.
Is that
Oh.
cringy?
Who was
Is
the
that
first
ridiculous?
one? The first
back,
was the
let
first
me
person
see.
I don't even think was a member of Congress, was she?
Yeah, she was. I think she was. But it's supposed to be like a video game. She
Didn't
said
say that she's
So,
she's
that's interesting.
representative.
We'll have to find out who she is.
Sulhi Jessica Wu,
Bento Box
Bento
Queen.
Box Queen, Mommy of the Century, whatever. Jesus Christ.
It's ridiculous, though.
How is Trump ever going to cope with this formidable opposition?
Yeah, it's
So
ridiculous.
embarrassing. I'm
So that's the
embarrassed to be
boycott.
part of the same species as they are.
No, don't.
What
say,
I'm
you
worried
can't
about is
say
if some
that, Jeff.
if some alien from Mars lands here and says like, "What's wrong with you?" or things, I'm like, "Don't count me in with this. I'm not part of this."
Well, remember Scott Ritter said, the way to fight an idea is you come up with a better idea. I mean, that's not even just him. That's just reasonable.
Yeah,
You
should be obvious.
This is not about a better idea. What is don't shop at?
This is about fighting.
What is that economic boycott of Amazon? Who is that against actually? Is that
Amazon. Well, sometimes I've asked a few of these numbskulls what the point is, and sometimes they'll say they'll have some anti-corporate message as their answer, and other times they'll say something really vague like, well, they're just flexing their clout to show that they can do whatever in the future. Like, we'll show you because now we're doing this. And they act like that's a reasonable response, and they're getting tuned up. They're showing their clout, and they can then fine-tune it at any time that they want to do some other protest.
Right. So now remember, in Canada they had the truckers strike. Now that was a real protest, and they came down on them very hard. The government did.
People didn't boycott the truckers. The truckers boycotted everything, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So if I'm just saying,
And
if you're going to do something
remind me
effective,
Remind me what they were. What they were demanding.
Where somebody in the chat, I got to remember a second.
Because I think they at least made a demand that was clearly articulated, and that if it were met, it would end the boycott. Whereas these mental patients aren't making any demand that, if met, will ever end. They're just saying,
I know,
hey,
I know.
we're unhappy. We want you to know we're unhappy. This may end in a week or 5 years, whatever. Just know that we're unhappy.
Actually, what it was they were protesting the COVID-19 mandates.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Okay,
what it
okay.
was. And so I think that they said that 85% of Canadian truck drivers who served cross-border routes were engaged in that. So, I mean,
Right.
that is a real
Right.
action.
And there's
right?
two ways to judge it. One is just, does it make sense strategically, whether or not you agree with the cause? And then the other way is, do you agree with the cause? So even if you don't agree with it, at least it makes sense strategically, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm unhappy. It's like the kneeling. You remember the football players used to kneel?
Yeah.
I guess it had vaguely something to do with police
Brutality.
beating up black people or something.
Yep.
But I don't think there was ever any evidence that there was an increase in police. I mean, I'm not totally against the police beating people up, but usually you do something when it's trending in a worse way, or there's people aren't aware of it, or I don't know. But they stopped, and the whole Black Lives Matter thing stopped. But where is the announcement about how things have gotten better? Right?
Exactly.
I think it was just an anti-Trump thing that, they tried to hurt Trump, and now they realize that's probably not going to work again. So,
Well, it's like, I think up in Canada, they had this thing, it was a protest against domestic violence, which obviously, that is definitely something to want to stop. So what they did is they had all the men in the parliament go out in pink high heel shoes and some kind of parade where they were marching for. So it's the worst thing. Everything is reverse in reality. It's like the people who say, there's a meme that's floating around, that the man who agrees with the media, agrees with the DEI or wokeness in the universities and in corporations and Hollywood, somehow thinks he's part of the resistance.
yeah.
There's no reason. It's not like that.
Right. Well, Jose Vega is going to be joining us in a few minutes when he gets back from his social engagement. But why don't we take a look at a video he posted today? Jose has decided to unveil his comedy stylings. It's not one of his usual videos, at least not the type I've seen him do before. So let's take a look at the newly comedic and very ambitious Jose Vega.
EU, NATO, and our favorite cocained-out President Zelensky are in big trouble. Just days after the disastrous meeting between President Trump and Zelensky, we've seen these organizations in a total panic, with the head of NATO saying that Zelensky has to fix his relationship to the United States. President Trump says he's refusing to work with President Zelensky until President Zelensky commits to total peace. We've seen the weak president of France saying that peace is only possible with a pacified and weakened Russia, which of course only means more war, more boots on the ground, and more deaths in the battlefield. But the truth is, all of these European countries are shaking in their boots, as NATO receives the most funding from the United States. A whopping $860 billion alone make up NATO. Other EU countries don't even come close to the funding that the United States provides NATO. And yet somehow we see the EU pretending like this isn't happening, continuing to support the blathering Zelensky and watching the entire European continent shrink and collapse. All of this is only trouble for President Zelensky and the EU as a whole.
Oh, yes, thank you for the money. Oh, thank you so much, yes. Oh, I love your money, too. Thank you so much for the European country. And thank you for the money, too. Oh, thank you. Thank you for buying my cocaine. Thank you. Thank you for buying my luxurious cars. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for the money. Thank you. Oh, Miss Meloni, I love your Italian currency money. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Oh, and thank you. Mwah, mwah, very good. Yes. Oh, my favorite best.
Vladimir, you're gonna be a good boy?
Yes, I behave.
Good,
Thank you.
good.
Haha. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, thank you for the money. Yes, thank you for the money. Yes, thank you for the money. Yes. No, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, where's my chair? Is my chair the big one? Am I in the middle?
All right. My first question for Jose is going to be, was that him doing the voice of Zelensky? And you muted your microphone, Ryan.
I was wearing. I was thinking the same thing actually. Yes, I did mute it, but.
Yeah. You know, he does a great Bernie Sanders impression. I think it's worth. I mean, that was pretty good, but with a lot of these impressions, it's the attitude and exactly what you say that makes the difference. Not necessarily the voice doesn't have to be identical.
Have you seen the guy in China who does Donald Trump?
I think you might have
man.
sent me. That.
He is really
Yeah.
good.
He gets the attitude, but with a Chinese accent, right?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not much. It's like Chinese society, Chinese circumstances, but he's got the accent perfect for Donald Trump. Anyway, people have to have a sense of humor.
Well,
about
the Trump era is just so much fun. Again, like I was saying before, there's two ways to judge it. One is, do you agree with it? Do you like what's going on? But even if you don't, it's just all the memes and videos and people. It gets people interested in politics that otherwise wouldn't pay attention. That's a good thing. Well, what about the tariffs? Here again, I don't know anything about economic issues, but in the news today, we see that Trump has decided to pause the tariffs that he was going to impose on Mexico after he had what he described as a very respectful conversation with their Jewish president, Ms. Sheinbaum. And by the way, who would have thought that Mexico, which I think is dominated by Catholics, would have a Jewish president before the United States? I guess Bernie was the closest we came to that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This guy, El Trump, you got to see him also on X because he does Donald Trump, but with a Mexican style.
We should put
accent.
together a collection of the best Trump impressions.
We absolutely should. Yeah, actually, this is very interesting because he says our relationship has been very good together. He says we're stopping illegal aliens and stopping fentanyl, and he says thanks for your hard work and cooperation. I mean, very different than what people typically hear from him. So, I mean, look, the whole thing that people think about on tariffs, it is true. Tariffs were used in this country extensively, protective tariffs, so that we could, for example, build a steel industry. because at the time, back in the 1800s, I think steel cost it was prohibitively expensive. Let's put it that way, without going through the prices. So we had to protect American industry, but people always get it wrong. They just think, and I think actually Donald Trump gets that wrong. It also has a flip side to that coin, which is there was also investment in the industries to make it grow, to allow it to flourish. So it's not just tariffs. And even now today, it's even harder to just say, okay, throw up tariffs because we're dependent on the rest of the world. I heard Donald Trump saying that a lot of these countries, including China, have, I think he said, where was it? What country was it? It was like Vietnam, some country I would not have thought of, which has a 100% tariff on automobiles from the United States. Mm-hmm. Last place I would have thought, right? But so his idea of fighting back against their tariffs with our tariffs, I mean, in one sense, it sort of makes sense. I don't think it will be as devastating as people think, because every country has something like that. But we're the only country that is like the consumer of last resort. Really, I mean, Europe is.
Well, doesn't it cut both ways, Ryan? I mean,
that's what I'm saying too.
Well, no, what I mean is that when Trump says he's going to impose the same tariffs that they impose on us, I think the assumption a lot of people make is it's going to be higher. But couldn't it also be lower? In other words, couldn't?
What do you mean?
Well, meaning that couldn't, because of what Trump threatens, couldn't that cause, at least theoretically, some other nation to impose a lower tariff than they otherwise
or change their existing tariff?
Yeah, because Trump didn't say he's not threatening to raise it higher than what the other countries are doing. He's saying he will match it.
Yeah, it's possible, right? It's definitely possible.
And also, is that really what he wants, or is it just a negotiating ploy?
Well, look, Hassan has said that Trump has already put new sanctions on Iran. In less than 12 months, they now have 100% inflation, 60% of which is not even from, I guess, the month. It's a little more than a month that Trump has been in office.
And Hassan is from Iran, right?
He is from Iran.
He's our Iranian supermodel. We need a supermodel from every country.
Yeah.
Well,
I call him Honey for short.
I see the way some people are reacting, but I think this is the anti-Trump press, but let me ask you anyway. They're saying, oh, Trump folded, by saying he's going to pause the sanctions. Do you think it's a sign of weakness?
No.
Or
no. In the same way that the Trump administration is negotiating with Hamas. So of course I saw on one of the news things out there. Oh, he's now working with terrorists, and of course then other people say, well, he's owned by Israel. So right, what is it? Which is it? Is he owned by Israel? Is he working with terrorists? It's literally, everybody has got in their mind, you can't talk to people and have a diplomatic relationship and just have ideas on the table. And I think actually that's what he's doing. So some of his methodology seems wild and crazy, but then like you said with the president of Mexico, it's completely different now. And we know he doesn't talk to Putin that way. That's different because, Putin is, he's the first one to say in the United States, at least, hey, Russia's our peer. They have power. We have to respect them.
And how's he going to threaten them when we're already imposing sanctions on Russia?
Right. And he also knows it hasn't done anything, so.
Well, I don't know what happened to Jose. I guess he...
Well, what you said it was a social event, so maybe it got...
Whatever. All I know is he didn't do again what he said he was going to do.
No.
So why don't we talk about it without him, since we planned the show around him? I don't know whether that means much to Jose, but that's what we did. What I wanted to ask him was to do a comparison between what happened to this woman in Idaho who got dragged out of an event. And let me just see if I can find that video.
This is a protester, right?
Yeah, this is a woman who was...
I think I see it. This is the license revoked.
Yeah, okay.
You want to set it up? Or
Well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, so this woman was at a public meeting, town hall type thing, at a school. And she started yelling. By all accounts, she was yelling repeatedly and was warned several times. And then a cop, a sheriff, as they call them there, and security guards were all in on it. The sheriff told her she's going to be arrested if she doesn't stop. But then for some reason, I'm not saying this is good or bad, it's just curious to me. I'd like to know what the reason is. For some reason, he had the security guards remove her physically while he picked up his phone and made a video of it. And she's calling out, who are these people? Who are these people? And there's a few different elements to this story that are worth thinking about. But I think the main way that people reacted at first was, oh, this is terrible, because she was resisting.
No.
Here, I think here's Jose now.
yeah,
You're late.
I'm late?
yes.
Oh, you don't even know you're late. That makes it worse.
You have to wind
That's how much
your
you care.
clock.
That's how much you care about your commitments.
Wind your clock.
Well, my watch is actually dead. So
Wind your clock.
All right. All right. Well, thanks for being so apologetic.
I apologize.
Yeah, all right, whatever. So we were just talking
Get well.
about the incident in Idaho, setting up the video. And so the way most people reacted to it was she resisted quite forcefully, and the security guards had a hard time getting her out. And most people were thinking, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible. Look how brutal they were with her. And the way I reacted to it was like, well, what are you talking about? We can argue about whether or not she should have been ejected, but as far as being physically removed, that's what happens all the time, including when Jose does it. And but the media, like this is an NBC report I'm going to show you, they were so sympathetic to her. And I was thinking, I wonder how Jose feels about this. I don't recall NBC ever crying crocodile tears over what happened to him. But all right, anyway, here's the video.
At one point, they had her shirt almost entirely off. Her undergarments were exposed. It was a terrifying situation that I never thought that I would witness at a public political event, a town hall.
Get up or be arrested.
Sheriff Bob Norris trying to lift Teresa Borenpol out of the chair after she refused to see Sheriff Norris talk to the security guards.
Is he a deputy? He's our deputy.
That's when Borenpol fought being removed. Security guards eventually get her to the ground.
Who are you?
She was then dragged out of the auditorium.
She had to wait hours in the emergency room. She still is sore and has, scratches and bruises and everything that you would expect from what she went through.
But how did we get to this point?
There were several people that were interrupting, but Ms. Borenpol was the most vocal of them. We've got her on video no fewer than 7 times shouting out, interrupting, catcalling.
I asked Tennyson, who is sitting next to Borenpol, if that is true.
We chose to heckle instead and to shout out things that were true about what the legislators were telling us. We were told a couple times to stop. We did not stop because we wanted our voices to be heard. We weren't completely disrupting to the point where they couldn't speak.
Tennyson says they wanted their voices heard because she says the KCRCC picks and chooses the questions for the legislators. Regan says otherwise.
We go to audience questions, which are written out on 3x5 cards and then selected randomly and given to the master of ceremonies.
Police say Borenpol bit one of the security guards as they were trying to remove her. She was cited for battery, but that charge was rescinded after the prosecutor obtained more evidence. In the video, you can hear Borenpol ask the security guards who they are.
Who the fuck
They had no marks on them showing that they were security.
Which, according to City Code 532, they must. In fact, police say the security company Lear Asset Management's business license was revoked because of it.
Have you ever bit a security guard when they're dragging you out, Jose?
Have I ever bit a security guard? No, I have not.
Have you ever choked on one of them?
What does that even mean, to choke on a security guard?
like when they're choking you around the neck.
Oh, I've
That's
been choked.
different.
I've been
You've
choked.
been
by
choked.
security
and
guards.
then
That's
you
my point.
spit. Yeah.
That's my point. He's on the receiving end of it,
I know.
whereas
But I have to be honest. I know what you're saying, but conservative media was very friendly to me when I went after AOC. Now you tell me if there's a difference, but when I confronted AOC 2 years ago, wow, it's about to be 3, in October of 2022, I saw myself on Tucker Carlson. Jesse Waters did a segment where I saw Tulsi Gabbard comment on the intervention that I did on AOC with my friend Kynan. And she said, you know, when you hear these two young men talk about nuclear war and you hear the passion in their voices, they're right. Is there a difference, though, Jeff, Ryan? I'm actually asking you.
Well, the thing is, I think. By the way, and I was telling you that you should sue over the time you were choked. That's what Ryan was referring to.
Yeah.
Before I answer your question, let's look at the incident when you got choked.
Is the actual responsible one for World War III? I'm supposed to believe China is surveilling our kids? We have a mass surveillance state here. It's called fascism, okay? The NSA spies on everything we do. You think I give a shit if Xi Jinping cares about what I'm doing? The United States government already spies on me. This incoherent idiot up on the stage is no different than the incoherent babbler named Biden, who probably isn't running our government. Okay, I can't believe Richie Torres has you come and testify at our government, in our Congress. You're a disgrace, okay? There is an alternative to the world right now. We don't need to have World War III. We can actually work with China. Did you know that? We can work with China every time they come. They offer a peaceful solution. Listen, don't start World War III. He's choking me. He's choking me. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, he just choked me. Jesus. Hey, my neck really hurts, man.
Now wait, Jose.
Oh,
You're smiling even there, Jose.
I can't breathe.
I really did have the wind knocked out of me. That was not hamming it up.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Now I'm
What the hey, I'm not done talking about peace, man. You can't manipulate the American population anymore.
I may be dying. I may not be able to breathe, but I'm not done.
We can join the BRICS. We can work with the people. The fascism and the tyranny has to end here.
All right, so you weren't faking it, as you say. You were really choked. Now, Jose, you know I've been saying since then, I've been saying this to Medea Benjamin for years too, that I don't understand why you guys never go on the offense and sue these people when they use excessive force. And I've never heard an answer that makes sense to me. So get this, the latest news in Idaho is this woman who bit the security guard has hired a lawyer. So it looks like she is going to file a lawsuit. She is going to go on the offense. Now, the thing that I think might be relevant here is that law that requires security guards to identify themselves.
Yeah, but there
and
were
that's
not
the thing.
security guards. Were those security guards, Jose?
Yeah,
Those
they
were
were.
security guards. Those were
And
not-
they were totally not identified in any particular
Yeah, but
way.
the thing is, the law is a local law in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. There may not be any such law where Jose was. So, but the thing is, she knew that they were security guards. The cop was in on it. She was warned. She knew why she was being removed. It's not like people came for no reason at all, big mystery, and started attacking
out of
her, you know?
nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
what
nonetheless,
was it she was
I think
talking
they can,
about again, though? What was her issue?
I don't remember.
I I can give you. I see. That's the thing, right? This whole thing isn't even centered around what she said. I don't actually know what she said.
I don't even care. I care about
That's the point I'm making, Jose, is that you don't know what she's saying at all. All it is about. I mean, she could have been saying something off the wall.
Exactly. So what I can say is why we don't sue. One, well, honestly, I could give you a whole bunch of BS reasons. I don't have the money. I don't have the money. I'm broke. Okay. I can barely stay in the office and the studio, which, by the way, votevega.nyc/donate.
Oh, what a pro you are to squeeze that.
You can invest in me to get a proper watch, not this one that's out of juice. But regardless, though, I mean, yeah, I just don't.
Well, who bought a microphone for you and made you sound so beautiful?
Oh, that was America's sweetheart, Jeff.
Indeed, you deserve it. And you sound fantastic.
Thank
you sounded
you.
great. We played your video already while we were waiting for you while you were AWOL.
I apologize. I was iftar. You know, it's big here in the Muslim community.
Yeah, well, nothing is more important than this show. So the question that Ryan and I both have for you is, were you the one who did the Zelensky voice?
Oh, you played that video.
Yes.
Yes. I made the Zelensky voice. What did you say about it? What did you
Well,
think?
you'll have to watch the video later. I introduced it as the debut of the comedy stylings of Jose Vega.
Yes, that was me. You know, thank you very much, Mr. President.
Now do your Bernie.
Okay. The 1%. We have to go after the 1%. There you go.
See, catchwords are very helpful. If you use certain catchwords that they always say, the word he says all the time is oligarchy. So when you imitate him, you got to say oligarchy.
Jose says it too.
Yeah.
Well, 1% is my catchword.
Yeah.
But for Trump, it's Hillary. Hillary Clinton
he's got
is a
new one.
criminal. Yeah.
You're not
Well,
holding.
you
the
asked.
line.
You said since I'm kind of a comedy guy, you were curious about my critique, and I already gave it. But basically, I was saying that the voice is good enough, but it's not always about like having the perfect voice. It's about the attitude and exactly what you say. So you're doing good.
But see, here's the thing. Go back a second. What Jose, you and I were saying. I mean, the issue. Maybe it's free speech. Maybe it's not free speech. Now, thinking about it, hers was a public event, from what I can tell. So there is a free speech element.
You mean a First Amendment element?
First Amendment.
Free speech is a vague term. You mean First Amendment?
Let's be clear. Yeah, First Amendment. Whereas,
well, there might be, Ryan. There might be, because it. And I would like to hear a lawyer explain it. But the reason I say it's only a maybe is, yeah, you're saying because it was at a public school, but
no,
the school was
that's not what
but
I'm
the,
saying.
Well, what?
Weren't these
let me
city
just,
council people? It was,
no, the school. No, it was rented by a Republican group. It wasn't a city council event. That's my point. So I'm not so sure it is a First Amendment event. It was a private group, a Republican group, and it was just it was at a school, but it was rented.
All right, so no, that's then to the same point that we were discussing before. Therefore, the real issue here is that the media chooses whether it's left or right to showcase what they want you to know about.
Well, one thing that I think, again, I wish we had a lawyer to clarify this, but one thing that I think is relevant is that it was open to the public, but that doesn't mean that somebody who is behaving badly in the opinion of the organizers can't be ejected. I think all it means is they can't be denied access right off the bat before they've misbehaved because of like something that violates the Civil Rights Act, like we're not going to let white people in, or Jews or whatever it might be. Other than that, I don't think it matters that it was open to the public, but I could be wrong.
It's just attendance.
Well, can I play one, and then you tell me if you think this is definitely illegal?
All right.
Let me see here. Share tab audio. Okay. And then I'll start it at the end. This is the one where I did. I just got to bring that to the stage. Getting good at this. Let's see here if we can hear it.
This war! God damn it!
Oh, I don't know if you
At
can see it
least say
properly.
something about the people in
But
Japan
okay,
there
so
while
hold
they're
on. Here, I get thrown to the ground.
socialists who are in jail
Can you pause
Being
it?
You'll see
critical
it.
of this war.
That's the dean of the Columbia School of Journalism, the big guy.
God damn it!
So they throw me to the ground. And then, in typical fashion,
At
I
least
get right
say
back down.
something about the people in jail for being critical of this war.
And then
They don't deserve to be in prison right now.
the video kind of sucks. But then what happens is the dean of the School of Columbia Journalism bear hugs me to the point that I actually can't breathe, and then just takes me out of the room and bear hugs me all the way in the elevator and out of the school.
Right. Well, my opinion as a fake lawyer is that since it's a private event and you were disrupting it, they have the right to use physical force to remove you, but they don't have a right to use more force than was necessary. And it looks to me, and it sounds to me by the way you described it, as if it might have been excessive. I think that would be the issue to be litigated.
Well, but I had a cop tell me, outside of that one that you played, the one at the Asian Society, the one where I was like, oh, I can't breathe.
Against Krugman, right?
No. The one that earlier, the one
Jesse
that you played on the Asian
Torres.
Society.
Torres, yeah.
No. The one that you played while I was on
Okay.
at the Asia Society. Well, against Torres' advisor.
Yeah.
The one where I was on the floor and I was like,
Yeah.
outside of that event, a cop told me, well, they're supposed to call us and then we're supposed to remove you. So frankly, if you had called us first, would have been a different story.
Yeah, you've
New
told me
York
this
City.
before, and my answer is going to be the same publicly as it was privately. Don't take your legal advice from a dumb cop.
Yeah,
Take it from Citizen Jeff. I'm a fake lawyer, but I know more than
If
the
that
cop
cop is
does.
a fan of mine, I don't agree with what he said.
Oh.
No. But he's right.
It doesn't make any sense. What if the cop didn't even come promptly or at all? You're just stuck with somebody acting disruptively until you wait for a cop who may never come? It doesn't make sense.
Look, I go in there.
Do you have an adrenaline shot if they choke you out that somebody can reach into their pocket and wake you back up again?
Well, but I mean, you have to understand the psychology of a person who's intervening, and I'm not saying that they're all the same, but it really is contextual and situational. I do believe there's a difference between the interventions that I've done versus what other people do, and I've been encouraging people to go out and interrupt, but like it doesn't mean you can do it willy-nilly. Like, you can't do it because you want to end circumcision as a practice in the United States. I mean, that's just, and maybe somebody
That sounds anti-Semitic now.
Whoa.
Suddenly, wow.
I didn't mean to make it sound like that, but my point is, it's like there's certain things you want. Hey, look, nuclear war is definitely something you want to speak out against. Genocide is definitely something you want to speak out against, where you clearly interrupt somebody, and it also depends who you're interrupting. Okay, I will spill the beans. I was at this very special iftar event. It was not just a community thing, but there were a lot of elected officials and former elected officials, people I've yelled at before. This was like a nice communal dinner. The organizer invited me. I didn't want to be disrespectful. Could I have totally interrupted the speeches of the people who, definitely deserve? And I don't want to even say the name of the person who was there, because people would be like, "Oh, what are you, crazy? Why didn't you do it?" Well, I was invited. It wasn't like, and it was a nice iftar dinner. It was a religious event, and I wasn't. It'd be different, I guess, if it was like a public town hall. But I wasn't gonna interrupt their dinner, that I was invited to. A lot of people respect me, and they also happen to respect this other person. So I wouldn't have interrupted there, But if that person was holding a town hall, absolutely. And they let me in. They're famous for not letting me in their town halls, which is another method of prevention. I've made a big stink about it. For example, AOC, I am on her shit list. I'm not kidding. When I went to a public rally that she had in June to help Jamal Bowman beat back the AIPAC people, I waited in this long line in the middle of the summer. I was sweating, only to get to the front of the line and be told, yeah, actually, you're not allowed in. Your name specifically is not, you are like persona non grata at any AOC event.
Now, let me ask a question. What about Congressman Al Green's removal from the joint session of the Congress?
I thought you would go there. yeah, I hate to say it, but it's probably something I would have done too, but maybe on something a little more substantive.
Yeah, but this whole spiel refers to, you as a interventionist artist, what your artistry is about, how you make your choices. These are moral judgments. That's different than, whether it's legal or not.
That's exactly right. I don't go in there thinking like, oh boy, I'm ready to fight the police if I need to. I don't think about the consequences of what's going to happen to me personally.
Well, no, you do. You expect that you're going to suffer the consequences, so
Yeah,
you just
sure.
rule that out.
Right.
Yeah, and Al Green said he'll take the consequences too, meaning that he might be censured. I don't know what that means, except they just kind of like publicly say you're naughty.
That's it.
Does that
Yeah,
mean
it's not
he
like
has to go to bed without any dessert for a week or anything like that?
Well, that's the other thing.
They take
too.
away his cane. Maybe they take away his cane so he can't wave it around.
If I was ever elected to the Congress, the Congress can like pretty much willy-nilly expulse any congressman they want.
Well, they
As long as
recently
have-
did. That Republican
Well,
guy.
they do.
George Santos.
Yeah.
They had these weird rules. Like they tried to get what's her name, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, tried to get Robert F. Kennedy banned from testifying at a hearing about censorship because there's some rule about if you're naughty, basically, like you're a person of ill repute or whatever, something vague like that.
Yeah, it's totally BS.
No, but I think you have recourse. I mean, they could choose to do it for almost any reason, but I think whether or not the Supreme Court would uphold it if it were like obviously ridiculous. I don't know. I guess they give a lot of deference to come.
The one thing I would say, just to take it out a little bit bigger, and it's not exactly First Amendment, but all of this that we're talking about, it gets a little bit gray, is you now have this president, Donald Trump, whether people like him or not, and he is talking directly with people. He's engaging on all kinds of different topics, the war, all the things he's doing. But in other countries, you can't do that, right? So here you were talking about the media, but in other countries, you can't have an actual political discussion on something of substance and disagree with somebody. And I think about that because everything was supposedly about democracy, and now it's dictatorship, right? Well, Putin has been a dictator. Trump's clearly a dictator, according to the way that these Democrats are. So, Jeff, I was telling you about this earlier. I started looking at the way it is now in Europe, because in Europe you have France, in particular, the UK, the Baltics. They're all saying we have to continue this drive for war with Russia. And I just wanted to show a little bit of this from 60 Minutes about this, because as people are saying in the chat, Jose's stuff is showing up on social media everywhere. So let's take a little look at some of this, if we got just a minute.
Start to wonder if civilized discourse is just a myth. It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany. Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. After its darkest chapter, Germany
hold on a second, and let
strengthened-
me lower this while they're talking about Nazi Germany. The crime was that he said something about somebody. They said it was an insult, and these are a bunch of German lawyers who are actually going through. While the German Constitution says that they protect speech, insults are not protected. So let's see if I can play a little bit of this.
but not hate speech.
It's illegal to display Nazi symbolism, a swastika,
That's
or deny
important.
the Holocaust.
Remember
That's clear. Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes.
Insult somebody in public.
Insult.
Higher.
This
If
is
you
funny
insult
now.
someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there.
It was a 2021 case involving a local politician named
I'm not going to play the whole thing. The main thing is that Der Pimmel is calling the guy male anatomy, and this was a political campaign. So they're doing that in Germany. Now think about that. I don't know why 60 Minutes wants to go on about honestly how Germany is going after people. But what was interesting is that then, I guess a couple of days ago, there was this big parade where then they featured Elon Musk with a swastika, and she had just been saying that it's illegal to display swastikas in Germany.
Wow.
That's the flag. For those of you who aren't noticing it, it's the flag. That's in the
right
shape
there
of
in the
his
middle.
name.
It's the flag calling him Napo-Elon. So, I mean, what do you think about this? Because I don't even know how this stuff plays into the United States.
It's insane that anybody would think that use the word insult to describe a crime. Like, who decides what an insult is? There's so many ways to insult people.
That guy actually said, if you call somebody a son of a bitch, that could send you to prison.
What if I say Jose's new haircut is ugly? Am I going to go to prison?
I know
No, it's not. But hypothetically, if I were to say it,
You
would I
wouldn't
have to go to prison?
But you'd have my foot up your butt.
Oh, that's a totally different kind of.
So I think part of I think a lot of this has to do with creating sort of this tribalism mentality where everybody is not
hypocrites
really
everywhere. Here we uphold free speech unless you are criticizing Israel. You can't criticize Israel and stick up for Palestinians in the U.S.
Oh,
and your buddy RFK, by the way, I want to applaud you, Ryan, for agreeing with me. Saint Bobby finally did something that I think is a big no-no. It's silly, is that he's acting like anti-Semitism is a health issue. His convoluted argument is that, it's like spiritually hurtful, so that's the same thing as bad for your health. And that's not an HHS thing, but it's because of what the issue is, right? You could make that argument that something is spiritually hurtful and therefore a health issue for anything, but he's only doing it about anti-Semitism.
Well, first of all, I was only somewhat warm on Tulsi Gabbard being the Trump pick. So frankly, I don't have to count the L's of RFK. I was never completely won over with him as a health secretary. But I will say, first of all, on Germany, I can't think of any other European country that deserves to be made fun of more than Germany. And thank God I'm not running for the Bundestag.
I got two more.
Oh, you got more?
Yeah. The UK, the Labour Party says that they have an AI tool that monitors social media
God.
in what is it, Latvia, which has a very large Russian language-speaking minority. They're closing down opposition media there. So, I mean, the thing is, all of these people who claim they're for democracy, that's what they're doing.
Well, then, maybe Putin should invade Europe because this is ridiculous, right? It's like, I understand why they're freaking out about, Trump pulling out of NATO because maybe he should. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Thomas Massey says that too. He actually, you used in that little video, you were talking about the statistics of how much the U.S. spends on NATO. So Massey was saying, well, why don't we get out of this Cold War relic of NATO? There's no reason for it.
Absolutely. I think...
on the censorship issue alone, I mean, our friend Scott is saying he wouldn't even go to Germany because he doesn't want to be thrown in prison for insulting somebody. I mean, how absurd is that?
And look at Melania there. Look at Melania there hugging Zelensky when she supposedly is a friend of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. So there's something weird going on over on that.
That's not weird. She's European.
They hug.
Yes, that's my point.
Well, they're warm. They're warm. Italians are very warm. Hey, while we have Jose here, let's talk about. Jose is basically unhappy about almost everything.
That's
and
not
of the other. I'm kidding. Take it easy. Bring it down a notch. Everybody, just take a deep breath. That was my humorous segue into your opposition to the proposal to build a casino in the Bronx. You recently made a video about that. Wait.
I thought you were going to go do a fundraiser out in front of the casino. In the casino. Okay, never mind.
All right, Ryan's trying to be funny. So this is Bally's. Now, I watched and listened to your video, Jose.
Okay.
And you might have a good point or two or three that I don't understand, but I have to tell you, I don't really understand the reasons you were giving in the video. I read an article about what some of the other people in the community were objecting to at that town hall, and they had different beefs than you did. You were saying it's not really an economic deal, and you were saying, why is there money for, why is there not enough money to keep a school open, whereas there's money for a casino? But isn't it a private money for the casino? How is that a public funding issue?
Well, it's not necessarily about public funding. It's more about intention. I mean, the community board has to write a letter to the city, basically approving or denying whether or not they want the casino to be built there. So if the community board says, yes, we understand there's a proposal to want to build a casino, then you're more than welcome to come to our district and build a casino. And the community board has to vote on that. And they offered this, a public opinion place for the audience to basically speak their opinion.
Right.
But really,
let's just tell the audience what we're talking about. This is somewhere in the Bronx. You can say where in a minute, but it would be a big project with a lot of different things going on. There would be a 500,000 square foot gaming hall, a 500-room hotel, retail stores, a 2,000 seat event center, and a parking garage that accommodates over 4,000, almost 5,000 vehicles. This is the project. So what part of the Bronx is it, Jose? What kind of a neighborhood?
This is a place called Throg's Neck.
Oh
my God. It sounds like a part of the body.
A frog's neck?
Maybe a naughty part.
Let me see if
hey, you're not supposed to expose your throg's neck in public.
Let me see if I can actually pull
while he's looking for that, Jeff, what were some of the people that you were reading complaining about?
Well, they were talking about crime, public safety, traffic congestion, the potential loss of parkland, things like that.
Yeah. So basically, if you can see here, Ferry Point Park, that's basically where the casino would be, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm somewhere where I'm not going to really zoom into where my location is right now, but I'm somewhere west over here, right? The South Bronx is over here. This right here, this little area of Throg's Neck. Now, what's important about this geographically is that you see these two highways. This is 295 and 678. Those are the only two highways that connect the Bronx to Queens that does not go through Manhattan. So in other words, you do have this here, but that has to go through Manhattan to get to the Bronx. What's also interesting is that these two highways can take you right to LaGuardia and to JFK Airport here in Queens.
Wow, it could become like an international, national gambling spot to maybe offset Las Vegas.
So what you're basically going to do is you're going to increase the traffic horrendously. So that this one highway that people use to commute between back and forth the boroughs to go to work is just going to be jammed with people trying to get to Ferry Point Park to the casino.
Right.
And
that's what the other people were complaining about. One of the
I know.
Was
they were talking about traffic and stuff, but honestly, that's like small fry stuff.
But there's let the Yankee Stadium is in the Bronx. I don't know
exactly.
It's horrible, yeah.
Well, look, I mean, the Bronx.
I'm just saying I don't know how that would compare. I mean, Yankee Stadium is not open. Is not having a game every day. That's one difference.
Yeah, but you should ride the subway when they are having a game. Okay, all the way.
Oh, I have.
Brooklyn, like
it's crazy. Yeah,
riding up the 4 train, and anything.
I have.
I have nothing against you. If you,
I told you before, as a white supremacist, Jose, it's actually the only time I've ever been to the Bronx is for you.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing is, it's all dependent on what you think economic development is. If you think economic development is just anything that will generate cash flow, then great. We should open up whorehouses. We should open up casinos. We should open up gambling centers everywhere.
Well, prostitution is one of the things that sometimes is attracted by casinos. I don't know how often. I mean, I know that like in Atlantic City, the surrounding areas is quite sleazy. I don't know if that's always the case with casinos. For example, there's a casino in Connecticut. Do we know anything about what the surrounding neighborhoods are like there, whether it's crime and prostitution and so forth?
Other people have said that were at the town hall said that they didn't want their neighborhood to turn into what happened to the Connecticut neighborhood casinos. Throg, you have to understand that where Throg's Neck is geographically is like one of the only places in the Bronx where there's still a strong Italian and somewhat Irish culture there, right? It's people who don't look like me who are still there, and it's a relatively safe neighborhood.
Oh, in that case, I would have come to the Bronx besides a Yankee game if I knew there were nice white people there.
You like Italian food, Jeff, so you could probably find a good place there.
All I'm
Now
saying
you
is,
tell me.
like,
Now you tell me.
Honestly, it's very fair of them to say, I don't want my neighborhood to become like a prostitution.
Yeah,
center.
but hold on a second. There's something else, because I know that in Arizona, and I bet you the one in Connecticut, they're on Indian reservation land, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Well, whether or not it is, just doesn't address what it does to the neighborhood.
No. But the point is that it's not. It's maybe adding financial benefit to the community on one layer. But it's taking out a lot more.
Well, that's the question. It's you got to weigh the pros and cons. So that's it. I guess you would admit, Jose, there probably are some advantages to it, but that the disadvantages outweigh it. Like you wouldn't mind having a 2,000-seat event venue, right, as long as they have good events in your neighborhood. Wouldn't that be a nice thing? So you don't have to go to Manhattan every time to see a good concert? Wouldn't that be nice?
If there was a Carnegie Hall in the Bronx, yeah, because it's intention. It's about intention, right? Like if
that's what I mean. It depends who they book at the venue. Right?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have them hook, like Eric Clapton or Bruce Springsteen. I would outlaw that. I would
Why?
I would make that illegal.
What illegal? Those two artists? Make a law for those two artists?
Any music made after 1915 should be.
Oh, come on, whatever your musical taste are. Wouldn't you admit that having a venue, that part of it would be a good thing, so you don't have to go to Manhattan to see a good show?
Well, of course, but like that's for people to go and enrich their minds, to be uplifted, to better their souls, not to spend money that they may or may not have, to have prostitution in the area, and have, hey kids, you can work at the casino and we'll pay for your scholarship to college. Oh, well, it's like,
well, the whole thing with okay, so here's one argument that I can think of that is a problem with the casino is it's really still the service economy.
Yes.
Right? So it's a service. Just because services exist doesn't mean that they're beneficial to
right.
the
And one of Jose's idea was instead of that, have a training center to teach people how they can build things that are useful for the community.
Yes.
See, I'm sticking up for you now, Jose.
Thank you. I never know what to expect when I come on this program. It's like, are you guys on my side or not? Or what's going on here?
It just depends how much wine we've had and how it hits us.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
How much more wine do you need to argue in favor for a casino? Because I think like you're 2 glasses away from that.
Well, I don't know. I just said I think it's a good idea to have a training center. That's good.
Oh, I agree. And I think
it'd be a good idea to have some different kind of transportation to circumvent the vehicular traffic and have, I don't know where you're going to put it, underground or overground, but some kind of train, right?
There's something else. There's something else. Like casinos generate other local businesses. Military bases generate, local businesses also to service those people that work there. So
all those great Italian restaurants on Arthur Avenue would do quite nicely, right? Is this anywhere near the Arthur Avenue, Little Italy? No, it's not. Okay. Well, I guess they wouldn't benefit then.
They wouldn't. But see, they would benefit if you had if Ferry Point Park became like a vocational school that housed 2,000 students, what would that do for the economy? The local economy. You would need to build housing that would be comfortable for them. You would need to build local restaurants, cafes. It would need to turn it into a college town, basically. And then you would have a lot of the kids who graduate there come back and reinvest in their community and around the country. I mean, you can't really do that.
If you make it a deal where they get the casino, if there's also that, then they could also, as a backup, work at the blackjack tables.
See, but here's the thing. Jose, we were talking about tariffs earlier, and I think this relates in a similar way. So tariffs in and of themselves, like right now, probably would hurt because we are largely a consumer economy. So the casinos are in a similar way. You could say, yeah, it generates something under these circumstances. The thing is, back in the 1860s, when we had tariffs, we also had investment in industry and manufacturing. So I think that whatever it would be, that would be so-called productive or beneficial to the community and people. It has to be in an environment where we're saying across the whole country, we're building things. We're making things happen, Jeff's smart cities or, power plants or whatever it is. It's a growing thing where more and more people are being needed as engineers and scientists as opposed to as, insurance salesmen or stockbrokers or something like that, day traders. Isn't that really where you're going in that thing that you were saying, Jose?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the world doesn't need more casinos, and it certainly doesn't need some dealers. I mean, what good does a dealer provide to society?
All right. No, and as August 17th just said, gambling is an addiction. It ruins lives. I'm just asking you questions, but I don't like gambling myself. I mean, aside from like analyzing what it does to society,
this show is a gamble.
Yeah, I'm not even interested in gambling. I remember I used to do hidden camera shows when I lived in L.A., and we would go to Las Vegas quite a bit to shoot there because the laws in Nevada are more lenient when it comes to secretly recording people. So that was the reason. And almost everybody else on the show loved it, and they would go and gamble and hang out in the casinos. I just was not the least bit interested. So.
Do you know that in the Texas charter, you cannot gamble on Texas soil? Ryan probably knows this. It is written into your state constitution that gambling will never be legal in Texas. And you know who spent over $150 million to try and get that reversed? The Adelsons.
Donald Trump.
The Adelsons.
Who did? Oh, the Adelsons.
Adelsons. I was going to say Soros, but
no, Adelsons have lobbied for decades the Texas Senate, the state Senate, to try, because the state Senate has to, issue like a whole change of the charter. And when recently they bought the Dallas Mavericks, I don't know if you have any basketball fans, but there was this very bizarre trade where they traded Luka Doncic out of the Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers. You know why? It was because when the Adelsons bought the Mavericks and the former governor of Texas came out and did a whole speech about how Texas will never be a gambling state, the Adelsons were like, well, we bought the Mavericks so we could try and gamble off them, but now we're going to get rid of your star player as an FU to Texas.
Oh,
so that's what they
What
did.
about, do they have a lottery in Texas?
I don't know about that, if they have a lottery or not. I just know that.
That question was so upsetting to Ryan that his camera turned off.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of hypocrisy over how in many states there are state lotteries, but there aren't casinos. And if I am going to like split hairs over different kinds of gambling, I would say, well, if it's based on skill in some sense, like playing poker or even betting on sports where it's based on how skillful you are at predicting something, that to me is a somewhat higher quality of gambling than something that's totally based on luck, which is what lotteries are, right? Or in slot machines. I can't believe that anybody would do that. Just pulling a lever. How does anybody see that as fun, pulling a lever?
And those things are designed to keep you pulling as long as possible. They give you little wins. They keep you going. They work with psychologists to figure out.
I was just going to say, it's like mind control.
All right, while you were downloading porn or whatever you were doing when you disappeared, Ryan, the question is there a state lottery in Texas?
There is. I looked it up.
I think
there is.
I just don't.
So they say there's no gambling, but there is gambling if there's a state lottery. That's gambling.
Then that's probably, but it's controlled by the state. It's not a private, private companies. Yeah.
Boy, I see what kind of people buy lottery tickets when I'm getting gas or something. It's like the dregs of the earth.
I feel like I need to drink wine with you guys next time I get on here.
Well, it's optional, but we encourage it as opposed to discourage it.
I mean, look, Jeff has been whining, and we're supposed to whine.
Well, here's a good comment. Hold on, let's all pause to just let this soak in. Thank
I'm
you.
trying
My new best friend, Lonesome Fugitive.
I'm actually down 15 pounds, so I'm saying this publicly too, so I can hold myself accountable to keep going.
All right.
And you have a nice haircut too. You look great.
Your
Oh,
haircut. Yeah.
But
you
what
got
do you
the
mean
suit
before
on?
when you said you never know if we're going to be with you or against you? Is that a bad thing?
No, it's a great thing. I love it. It puts me on my guard, you know?
Yeah.
But wait,
Real,
what do you
baby.
mean we? Both of us, or just Jeff?
Sometimes, Ryan, I can't tell with you either.
What?
That's right.
No, it's mostly Jeff. Jeff, what was it? It was like one of these, I can't remember. It was one of these shows I did once where I was like, Jeff, like, what are you coming at me for? You know, like.
I'm an unpredictable white supremacist.
I know.
so-
Well, he was he was coming at Scott Ritter the other night. So he says, "I haven't forgotten who I'm talking to," and he goes, "No, I think you have forgotten who you're talking to."
Actually, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I have watched episodes where you like really grill Scott on something. I'm like, oh, it's not just to me.
He loves it. Oh, he loves it. When I do that.
Yeah, he loves it.
No, that was about the way that Trump and Vance went after Zelensky. I just very mildly suggested to Scott that maybe it's a little bit more nuanced than it was being an absolute setup. In other words, it might have been. I mean, I assume he's right. I wasn't even arguing. I was just asking a question because a lot of people were pointing out that Zelensky had a deal. All he had to do was not fuck it up.
He just had to say,
And-
"Hey, yeah, we're here signing things."
Yeah,
and it's
and I was
great.
just pointing out that Trump and Vance didn't know exactly what Vance was going to say, so there was some improvisation to it. So I don't think there's a lot of space between what Scott said and what I asked.
I watched that thing a number of times, and one thing that struck me is the moment he went to talk about diplomacy, which means talk to Putin, because the whole idea was Putin is supposed to be, or Putin, depending on if it's Ray McGovern. Putin.
Oh, I called him to ask him
I
about
know.
the pronunciation.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be isolated. You're not supposed to talk to him. You're supposed to just believe everything that you're told by the media. So that's what it was. He broke that.
Yeah, he had a pretty funny actually, because I think in the beginning, it's like why are you aligned with Putin? And Trump says, "What do you mean? I can't just say bad things about Vladimir and then say, hey Vladimir, where are we on the deal? It doesn't
He
work.
called
that
me a
way."
genius. He called me a genius. That's the whole thing. He called me a genius. I'm not going to go against that.
Yeah.
No, I was just talking about the pronunciation. I don't know if you caught that the other day, Jose. It came up in conversation how to pronounce Putin's name. I don't know if you've ever noticed, Ray McGovern says it in some way that's different than everybody else.
Putin. He
Is that how he said it?
emphasized
Yeah.
Yeah, Putin.
And I don't know if it's correct or not correct. So that's what came up in the chat with Scott. So afterwards, I called Ray to ask him, but I got his voicemail. So maybe.
Well, it's like Boris. We say Boris, but I think it's buddies. Buddies. You got to say the I, right?
Yes.
Well, when Jose does one of his impersonations, I'll have to make a decision how to pronounce it. You might pronounce it one way when you're imitating Zelensky and a different way when you're imitating Trump.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, on that note, let's have dinner.
All right.
My goal is to just suck the energy out of the show with a weird question. And
Well, Jose,
and then end it
you do
abruptly.
look good. You look great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, hold on a second. Let's pause for this, Jeff. See?
Correct about, well, you're generally correct, but what
I'm correct
about what?
about my pronunciation of Boris and Putin.
Oh, okay.
See? That's from
Are we doing
somebody-
that? Because there were like 5 comments complimenting me. Can I put those up?
We already did that. Here's one. Did we see this one? Jose, work out with Ryan sometime. Here's back to Jeff. Supremacism spasms. Oh man.
What is this show? I love
Look at this. Looking good, Vega. I know. I like how you look now too. It's great.
Thank you.
I'm reevaluating my sexual orientation now. Jose is so good looking.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. You can handle it.
No.
All right.
We can do push-ups, Jose. That's all.
Should we wrap it up so I can go eat, and then I got to be up early to get my pedicure tomorrow. I got all kinds of things going on.
Drink your Metamucil too.
Metamucil, yeah, of course. How'd you know my routine?
Your routine, yeah.
Who told you? Who told you?
Jose,
All right, tomorrow
Jose.
night we're going to be on at 8 p.m. Eastern time for Ask the Inspector with our favorite weapons inspector.
Yeah.
And we will return for the 25th episode of The Whiners next Thursday night
Wow,
at
should
7
we do
p.m. What do
something special for that?
Yes.
I'll crack open a bottle of wine. For the next
There you have it.
No more of that MD44 or what is it? Ripple. None of that. None of that.
Ripple.
Well, he's in the Bronx. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the main wine there.
He's the racist. He's the racist.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, you're talking about Mad Dog 40.
Mad
Oh.
Dog. That's it.
Yeah,
Mad
yeah.
Dog. Mad
Ripple,
Dog.
I'll keep
Mad
them
Dog,
in my
whatever.
hands too, so that like, you ever seen this right where they tape like Mad Dogs around their hands and the only way off is to drink it? No.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So low class. Look what I'm having a French wine tonight, Jose. Look at that.
Wait. Is it Mad Dog 2020 or Mad Dog 40?
2020.
2020. I was just wondering if like it had gone lower calorie or something, and that's why it was 20.
Guinness is
Okay.
actually pretty low in calories. Only 140 calories per every 14.9 ounces.
Wow.
All right, lovebirds. I'm serious. I got to go eat dinner. Love you to
You're
death.
just gonna waste away.
All right.
Yep. All right.
Alrighty.
Take care.
Take
See ya.
care.
And be on time the next show, Jose.
Well, I always
with
get
the
on at
bottle.
7:30, but you're right. I apologize.
We changed it.
It's
All
not
right.
good enough. 50
All right.
push-ups.
Be on time and have wine next time. That's how we're going to celebrate the 25th anniversary. Jose will be prompt and be drinking wine.
Okay.
It's an excellent combination.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks.
Love you to death. Take care. Bye-bye,
See ya.
everybody.
Take care.